One of the world's great races, the 2024 Melbourne Cup, of course. Right through Cup Week, Ben Way and Brett Preble are trackside for us. I've got a very special guest now, Kieran McAvoy, who rides the $10 chance at Australian start number 2, Absurd. He ran in the Cup last year. And Kieran McAvoy is chasing a record-equalling 4th Melbourne Cup. He can join Bobby Lewis and Harry White with a win here. Let's get to the boys.
Yeah, good opportunity to catch up with some of the best in the business ahead of the biggest race in Melbourne each and every year. It is, of course, the Melbourne Cup, and a man who knows how to win it better than anyone is Kieran McAvoy, looking for a 4th this year. I speak to Brett about it a bit. He's won a Melbourne Cup too, about what it takes, how you feel arriving on track and the nerves pre-race. Tell us a little bit about how you're feeling today.
Yeah, it's a bit different for me this year, Ben. I haven't got a ride beforehand, so normally you get out there and get the blood flowing, so it's going to be a little bit different, but no, looking forward to the race. It's obviously a cracking day, and yeah, it's a very open cup field this year, so can't wait to get out there and get competing.
You think he's a chance, Brett?
Yeah, he's definitely first 5 chance for sure. You know, just things have got to go right for him, get him in a nice rhythm, and obviously he can be a bit stronger and mature he was last year, you know, presented early and obviously just was vulnerable late. I don't think Kieran will make that mistake this year.
The stable's been on a 20-year search, Kieran, for this race. I think he watched Dermot Weld win many a moon ago now and thought, that's the race that I want to target. Have you got a feel for the importance at their end to finally get this win?
Oh, definitely. You know, Willie's a master trainer and knows how to condition a horse for a staying event. And he loves the Melbourne Cup, so it's no surprise to see him back here with the 2 same horses that he came with last year. It's been well reported that he's changed his approach and they got here a bit later and got them fitter landing in Australia, which has just had them sort of ticking away back at Werribee and didn't do any racecourse gallops or anything. So different approach from the team, and I'm getting a nice confident push from them as well, so fingers crossed.
24 years ago, Brett. 24 years ago that Brew won. A couple of Melbourne Cups in between. You throw in our Mandan and cross counter. What would it mean to join the names Bobby Lewis and Harry White there on 4?
Oh, it'd be very special. You know, I'm not sort of worrying about that. I'm just worrying about getting everything right there once the gates open today. But it'd be a pretty special moment if I could join that elite group at the top.
Okay, you've got one last bit of advice. What are you going to tell him?
I don't need to tell him anything. He's just go out there and enjoy it. Yeah, go and enjoy it, okay, Mac. And I think yeah, if anyone's going to do it, I'd love you to.
Yeah, we'll be cheering you on, mate. Best of luck. And of course, anytime you want to pop in for an interview over the course of Cup Week, you're more than welcome here, right?
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All the best.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest to ever do it, Kieran McAvoy, that is for sure, and he knows better than anyone how to win a Melbourne Cup. He's done brilliantly in the past 24 years. It is hard to believe it's been that long since Brew, but this race was first run back in 1861 and run and won by Archer, who then went back-to-back the year after that. I'm sure you'll agree, and you've done it. A Melbourne Cup immortalises horse, jockey and trainer the second they hit the line first.
Yeah, it's a bit surreal when you do it. You know, you get just that feeling of you completed and conquered it. You know, and it's you know, it's obviously a privilege to ride in it, but even a bigger privilege to be able to take that cup home and it's your name's in the history books forever.
Well, there are plenty that are vying to do it for multiple occasions. There are others hoping to do it for the first time, and some that are happy just to have a ride in the Melbourne Cup. And I think that's a point that shouldn't be lost on us. That some of these are happy just to be there full stop. They're completing a lifetime achievement just by racing in the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, exactly. You know, obviously, as basically all of us are jockeys growing up as a kid, that's the race we want to win, you know, and you finally get the chance to compete in it, whether you can be competitive, well, that's basically can be up to your horse, really. You can give it the best ride and you give it every chance, but if the horse doesn't turn up on the day, you sort of can't make it, you can't carry it. So, but as long as you go out there, you give it every opportunity, and if they're in a good form and they're healthy, they hopefully can do the best for you.
Well, Mullins and Buick, they'll be hoping their horse turns up this year, and it's fair to say that wasn't the case with Vauban last time. He kind of ran his race in the yard, and we'll go through these runner by runner, make our way through the Melbourne Cup field for 2024. At the Baskin, obviously, a scratching after what was a pretty controversial decision of the back of cardiac arrhythmia, which is essentially a heart murmur. So this is the class horse, number 1 saddlecloth for a reason, favourite last year, under-delivered no doubt. Since then he's chased Kyprios at 2.3 in Group 1 company, and with all due respect, there's no other horse with that quality alongside his or her name in this race. Only up half a kilo on last year. Barrier 11, they'll get cover without even trying. I do think a firm track in 27 could be the problem, but we'll soon see. Some big bets rolled in, including $6,000 at 6 and $2,000 at 8. Buckaroo ran brilliantly in the Caulfield Cup.
Yeah, he did. He's a really lovely horse. You can look him walking around the yard now. He takes it all in his stride. He just doesn't get too upset by it all. If any, he can sometimes be a little bit complacent when he jumps out to the barrier. So I think he's had a fair few sits on him now, so he's going to know that and probably make sure he jumps cleanly. And I just heard an interview. He's going to be 5th to 15th. That's where Chris would sort of like him to be, and that's important that you do get that clean jump, which Joe's very good at getting them out of the barriers.
Circle of Fire, I don't know whether he hasn't come up or whether Master Trainer Kieran Maher has just timed things to perfections for him to peak today. The Melbourne Cup has always been the grand final since he won the Sydney Cup at 3,200. Barrier 24 certainly hurts. They'll go back, but if they find the right back, who knows? We'll roll straight through to Warp Speed. And the Land of the Rising Sun have yet another representative in the great race. Yeah, he's brought good form here, and he was disappointed in the Caulfield Cup. I watched his race. He sort of dawdled out the barriers. He never got on the bridle. Never sort of didn't take really part in the race. I'm putting that down to probably wet track, but this horse needs every bit of 3,200 metres. So 24 was probably always going to be too short for him, and the track was against him anyway. So he could turn his form around. Kovalika, Chris Waller chasing his second cup, one with Very Elegant back in 2021. Blinkers on is significant. A son of Ocean Park, a Derby winner who admittedly hasn't won since. He hit the line well in the Cox Plate. Everything says he'll eat up 32, and another one on his cup debut. A small percentage heading that direction was $23 earlier on in the week. Sharp and Smart, good luck to Graham and Deborah Rogerson. Yeah, it's a lightly raced horse. He tried to sort of form around his Derby. For mine, I just feel it's a funny prep, and he doesn't seem to be going that well for me. Yeah, my thought there, 3 wet tracks in succession. He hates that. Back on top of the ground could be the key. He did win a Derby in New Zealand and almost won a Victoria Cup here, but you're right, he needs to bounce back in a good way. Just Fine, the likely leader, but he looked tired in the Moonee Valley Cup. Can he bounce back? I'm not entirely certain he can. Waterhouse and Bott, Jai McNeil, he won with Twilight Payment back in 2020, and this horse won the Bar Cummings over 25.20 to get in the Cup. 3,200 to my eye feels like a little bit of a stretch. Land Legend. This will be a decent training performance and a decent ride too, I think, if he can get this horse to win. He doesn't relax. He's a goey horse all the time. He was really basically half taken off on Zach. He had to get going at 1,000 metres. At 1,200, he was in awful trouble on him, really struggling to restrain him. So I've seen today they've got a gear change. They've got the hood on him, the ear muff, so hopefully that makes him a bit more tractable early and makes him relax. If he does relax, for sure, he'll run a trip out, but if he doesn't, he won't. Okay, I reckon the wide gate might help his cause, just being away from that inside. Absurd. Around the $10 mark, Karen McAvoy and Willie Mullins, and what a pair they make. A 7-year-old son of Fastnet Rock. He was well supported from 21 into single figures in last year's race. Went straight past Vauban then, but popped late. He's gone back home, run well over the jumps in the flat, and looks a nice chance. Athabascan scratched, as I said. Knight's Choice. This would surprise? Yeah, he definitely would surprise. I think he's, for me, he's not, he hasn't come up. He's just not showing his form to me, and it'd be a blowout for sure. Okay, his 3 runs in Group 1 company in Victoria this spring, to be honest, have been terrible, so that would surprise. Okita Soushi won the race with Gold Trip Kieran Maher, hoping to do so again. He was co-training with Dave Eustace at that point. He and Jamie Carr team up with this last star winner of the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. He did get a dream run, a 10 out of 10 steer, and will need everything to go right, but has certainly attracted some interest and was one of the better backed runners up until race day morning. That's dried up a touch today. We get to One Smooth Operator, Brian Ellison and Craig Williams. How good was that Geelong Cup win? Yeah, it was awesome, and I just love the way he lengthened and quickened. He showed a real good turn of foot, and I think that's what you need. It was a good deck like it's going to be today. All right, Zardozi, James Cummings, what a story that would be. His grandpa won 12. He'd love to add his name to it. Andrea Etzini, 51 kilos. She should have won the Metrop, I think. A pass mark in the Caulfield Cup. James essentially gave her a trial in the Group 1 Tab Empire Rose, and she's drawn for 51. She looks bulletproof. Love the 3-day backup too. Seek King, Harry Eustace and Holly Doyle. Great win in the Bendigo Cup.
Awesome, very strong, no weight and great gait. She'll just be sitting there in a lovely position wherever she wants to be, and it's got turn of foot too, so definitely a good life chance.
Valiant King, Chris Waller, Craig Newell. We can sum this up quickly. The past 3 defeats, 13.8 last, 7 lengths in the Turnbull, 13.2 in the Caulfield Cup. Surely not. We'll go to Fancy Man, Annabelle and Rob, and Ron Stewart team up with this galloper. 9.7 lengths off them in the Caulfield Cup when afforded an economical run. Barrier 19 here and very little chance. And then we have Interpretation, Kieran Maher and Theo Nugent. Have you had any thoughts on this galloper?
Yeah, I really like this horse. He's had not much luck, this horse, and if you watch his replay of last year, he ran a blinder. He was he's just a really nice horse that really loves staying trips, and I think he's going to get that today. So he just needs a bit of luck from the 14's, not the best draw, but it's not the worst. So if he has more luck this year, he'll be in a sort of like top 6 finish. Manzois
hasn't won since the VRC Derby 2 years ago. He struggled in the Bark Cummings and the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. It would surprise, mostly cloudy, barrier 16 and fresh off a 6-length defeat when second last in the Bark Cummings. Another one that I'm sure will be entertained by a few out there, but hey, it's a clear day today and I don't think mostly cloudy is going to be raining on anyone's parade. Positivity, Andrew Forsman, Winona Costin, okay in the Bark Cummings, horrible in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. Triple figures for a reason, do you think?
Yeah, it deserves to be triple figures. It's just not showing the positive runs that should be warranted winning this.
That said, good luck to Winona Costin. She's a fantastic story. She has had so many injuries, and I tell you what, she brushes them off. Yeah. They have just been terrible, and she's been able to overcome that and fulfil a lifelong dream to ride in the Melbourne Cup. St George, Kieran Maher, Tyler Sheila, the Moonee Valley Gold Cup run was good. He hit the line well. Yeah, he's running really consistent, this horse. Got no weight too, and I think probably just that class factors for mine. Just probably runs top 10, 12 position, but couldn't see it win him. Yeah, 5th up, probably ready to peak. I'm not sure he's quite there, but a chance, and I have heard a few tips around for that galloper. The map, Dan Clark and McGilvray, Rachel King to ride. We've got 4 female jockeys in the race. She won the Ramsden to get in. This has been the target ever since, but she may not have come up. She was 5 off One Smooth Operator in the Geelong Cup, drew 23. On best, could be a lightweight factor, but my thought is a touch unlikely, although the South Australian in me hopes I'm wrong. What about Trust in You? I'm not sure what sort of... it's got obviously a low weight and good gait, and I'm not sure if it can be very competitive in the winning positions, but it's an honest horse, but we'd probably just say the same thing, lacks a little bit of class. Yeah, would need a lot to go right to finish in the front half. So we need a Preble's pick for the 2024 Melbourne Cup. Who is it? Vauban, the way he walked around just the mountain yard today is a lot better than what he did last year, and he looks a much happier horse even behind the barrier. So if he turns up, it'll be a one-act affair. Okay, Buckaroo is now our favourite at $6.50 and an outright favourite, having briefly shared it with Vauban and One Smooth Operator. One Smooth Operator is the best backed runner in the race with tab fixed odds. It's $8 into $7 today, currently on the second line of betting. Vauban, not too easy, 7 out to 8. I know that our traders are pretty keen to keep this caliper close to their chest. Sea King $12, Zardozi $14, trimming in from 21 earlier in the week, and then Land Legend Co at 15 or more. Okita Soushi, I mentioned that money during the week. $34 bet about Warp Speed, into $26 and Kovalika. There was support early, but that has dried up. Looking forward to this race, Brett. I cannot wait. We can feel it right here. We're right next to the mounting yard. It's filled up. The crowd has made their way to the front. This is a race steeped in tradition. The names echo through time. Farlap, Peter Pan, Galilee, Think Big, Saintly, Might and Power, Media Puzzle, Maccabi Diva, Very Elegant, and last year Without a Fight. Did I forget one, Brett? There's a fair few more. Green Moon. You're forgetting him. I reckon we might throw Green Moon in there too. He's worth throwing in. Storylines everywhere you turn. Willie Mullins has spent 20 years trying to win the Melbourne Cup. He watched on 31 years ago as Dermot Weld etched his name into history alongside Vintage Crop. Will his pursuit end with Vauban or Absurd? If Absurd were to win, that would give Karen McAvoy 4. Brew, his first 24 years ago. Our Mandan and cross-counter since he joined Bobby Lewis and Harry White on top. Can Mark Zara complete the three-peat? Gold Trip Without a Fight, maybe Circle of Fire can do that. Can the greatest of all Bark Cummings smile on his grandson to deliver Zardozi a cup success? It would mean oh so much to James Cummings. Will it be the favourite, Buckaroo, at $6, or will we have an upset of Prince of Penzance proportions? The Melbourne Cup, the race that stops the nation, and there's only one man for the job. So as they mill around behind the gates, I think we should get to him. Sit back in awe and prepare for the roar. Here's your caller for the 2024 Melbourne Cup, Matt Hill.
Also in the stalls is Interpretation going forward for T.O. Nugent. Interpretation looking to be the 6th horse to win the Melbourne Cup at its 3rd attempt. The Japanese Raider Warp Speed goes up into barrier number 2. Warp Speed goes in. Mostly Cloudy joins the line, one of 4 horses in the race that have won over 3,200 metres. Land Legend went down to the start with the clerk of the course, will go up riderless. Vauban has the blindfold on. William Buick, a world-class rider, looking pretty relaxed, looking for his first victory in the great race. St George milling around the grey. Fancy Man waits its turn. So Vauban will be one of the next to be called forward into a centre gate here. Manzois, the previous Derby winner, about to load up at big odds here with Declan Bates at 1 kilo over. Kovalika is in. Jockey Damien Lane just sitting on the petition, taking the weight off his charge. So they continue to load. One Smooth Operator about to join them. Craig Williams having ride number 21 in the Melbourne Cup, famously winning on Vow and Declare. Positivity about to join them. Valiant King with Craig Newitt has the maroon cap on here. Here's Vauban, started favourite last year. Can Vauban be the first horse to win it? Coming back as a favourite the previous year since Maccabi Diva did it in her 3rd. Valiant King coming along, the map still milling around. Australia's great race about to get underway. One Smooth Operator is in. Valiant King joins the line. Here's Just Fine, ridden by Jai McNeil, the winner of the race in 2020. The field just about set. Circle of Fire is going to be one of the last as the map goes up with Rachel King out wide. And that will leave Circle of Fire, Mark Zara, who's won the race over the last 2 years. The 164th running of the Lexus Melbourne Cup, and the field is set to go. Ready to go, and they're racing. Trust in You towards the inside, broke away well with Okita Soushi. Just Fine, Sharp and Smart, and from the deep also Land Legend is showing some speed and intent. They come across towards the inside. Very wide is Circle of Fire, using plenty of the track in the early stages. 600 metres to go on the first round. Just Fine is sliding across to lead the Cup field from Land Legend, Mostly Cloudy, Okita Soushi next on the inside. Circle of Fire progresses around them deeper, and then Fancy Man, Sharp and Smart and Zardozi tucked away on the rails. Out deeper is Valiant King around Interpretation. Then came Manzois the Fence from Kovalika. Trust in You, Knight's Choice, Vauban 3 wide. The map around at 4 deep. Warp Speed next the fence, and then came One Smooth Operator, St George Positivity, Buckaroo, second last Absurd, and Sea King from barrier 1 has gone back to last. A lap to go with 2,300 metres to run, and the leader is Just Fine with Circle of Fire the outside, putting a little bit more speed in the race at the 2,200 metres, and now perches outside the leader. Land Legend a length and a half away 3rd, and they get clear. 3 lengths Okita Soushi and Mostly Cloudy. They're 2.5 to Fancy Man, Zardozi, 2 lengths Sharp and Smart. A length away is Manzois, followed by Interpretation. Then Trust in You on the inside of Valiant King as they make their way past the 1,700 metres. 2 further back in the field is Kovalika, Warp Speed, and then came the map out 3 wide, tracked by Vauban. Then Knight's Choice Positivity, a length and a quarter away. Then in the field is One Smooth Operator as they run by the 1,550. Well back is Absurd on the inside of St George, and then Buckaroo, and Sea King is last in the Lexus Melbourne Cup. 1,400 metres to run. Just Fine in front at an even speed by a length and a quarter. Land Legend and Circle of Fire. Okita Soushi next on the inside of Mostly Cloudy. A length and a half Zardozi with Every Hope on the the inside of Fancy Man. A length away to Manzoy, Sharp and Smart. Then Trusting You. Further back at the 1200 metres, Interpretation. 2 lengths to Warp Speed. Then came Valiant King, who's losing a little bit of ground. Passed by the map. Then Kovalika Positivity. Vauban is being shuffled back as this field string right out now at the 950. The leaders have put the foot down towards the back. Absurd. One Smooth Operator is about 20 off the lead. Then came Buckaroo about to get going from St George and Sea King. Just Fine is the leader. Coming down towards the 700 metres by a length and a half to Land Legend. 2 lengths away, Circle of Fire, Okita Soushi. Zardozi next on the inside, weighted with Fancy Man under pressure. Then came Mostly Cloudy, Manzoy. Buckaroo sweeping up around the outside, about 6 off the lead, followed by Vauban. Land Legend goes to the front with Okita Soushi on the outside. Then Zardozi back behind those, Circle of Fire, Fancy Man, and from a long way back Buckaroo. It's Okita Soushi. Zardozi a length away on the inside, wearing it down. Okita Soushi grabbed by Zardozi. Knight's Choice is coming through at any old price, and Warp Speed as well. Zardozi grabbed by Knight's Choice and Warp Speed coming at it. Knight's Choice, Warp Speed, they hit the line. It's a photo finish. Knight's Choice, I reckon's one from Warp Speed and a photo. What a magnificent finish to the Cup. Zardozi in a photo for third with Okita Soushi. Absurd. Then Circle of Fire next to finish in the race. Land Legend, Fancy Man, Sharp and Smart, Kovalika. Sea King, Positivity, Trust in You, Manzoy, One Smooth Operator. Interpretation back behind those horses. Valiant King, Buckaroo, the map, Vauban well back in the field. Then towards the end, Mostly Cloudy, with also St George and Just Fine at the tail of the field. And Knight's Choice is the winner. Robbie Dolan for John Symons and Sheila Laxon. It is a rank outsider. Knight's Choice has won the Lexus Melbourne Cup.
Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. The singing jockey Robbie Dolan, $63.50 on S-Tab, closed at $81. That is a huge upset. John Symons, Sheila Laxon, his 3-1 runs in Group 1 company this spring in Victoria have been terrible. 7.3 off Buckaroo in an Underwood. Last beaten 12.5 in the Turnbull. 14 of 18 beaten, 16.5 in the Caulfield Cup. But they have got this horse primed on Cup Day. And Knight's Choice has delivered a 5-year-old son of Extreme Choice. And for Robbie Dolan, a bloke who was struggling to get regular rides in Sydney, he moved his life up to Queensland. That is the thrill of a lifetime.
And made his association with obviously to Sheila, so that's fantastic for him. He gave it a great ride. There's so many to look at and so many where they're all coming from, and it was just fantastic for him. The Japanese horse ran the super too. It was a race for just excitement.
No, Warp Speed was absolutely brilliant, and as we have a look here, you can see them mounting their runs. Zardozi was one that travelled so sweetly, but you felt she was just that bit too close to the speed and had to be vulnerable late. Just as chances loomed up and you thought, this one might win, this one might win. Have a look at Robbie Dolan slicing a passage through, and the Japanese raider Warp Speed to his outside, going agonisingly close. The 12 will ultimately run third with Zardozi not too far behind, but that was a great race, Brett Preble, wasn't it?
Oh, very good. Karen McAvoy's ride, amazing too. It just fell short, probably around 4th or 5th. It was a race you have to watch 10 times, so it was a thrilling finish.
No, brilliant. Just as it looked as though Okita Soushi would win, you can see Zardozi punching up along the inside, and here come the remaining two. The winner at any old price, the 11 Knight's Choice, bursting through alongside the Japanese galloper. And oh, guys, as we come back to you, the Melbourne Cup, it delivers time and time again. But for Robbie Dolan, to know what he's been through and the risks that he's taken, how he's prioritised his career above everything and moved his life if need be, this is the moment that he deserves.
Ben, that is a wonderful story for Robbie Dolan. He gets his third Group 1 and his first ever Melbourne Cup. Sheila Laxon won the Cup with Ethereal in 2001. She gets her second, combining with John Symons, who gets his first. But the story of the race is Robbie Dolan.
It certainly is, yeah. And he was struggling, wasn't he, in Sydney? He was battling to get rides. There's no doubt about that. And he was making more noise singing than he was riding down in Sydney. He went to Queensland and it just turned his form around. He got that confidence back, and you can see that in the ride today. That was a sensational ride through the pack, horses going everywhere. He picked the right moves, and Robbie Dolan is the toast of Melbourne tonight. And well done to the team, John and Sheila there. They've done a tremendous job to get this horse. Let's be honest, his form wasn't good enough, and he's just jumped out of the ground on the big day and run the race of his life.
He was on The Voice, so many once-a-year punters will certainly have watched and have known Robbie Dolan.
There'll be a lot of people out there going, where do I know that face from? I reckon I've seen this bloke before. And you're right, it was on The Voice, and he's got a voice, that's for sure. But boy, can he ride, and look at him soaking up that moment. It's a race that can change your life, and for Robbie Dolan, it's doing that right now.
And for connections, they parted with just $85,000 for Knight's Choice. Well, just $85,000, but relatively cheap for a thoroughbred, having its first go at 3,200 metres. What a moment.
Isn't that what we love about the game, though, Marto? It's about, it doesn't matter how much you were bought for, it doesn't matter about all that. It matters about what you can do on the day, and we see it all the time. The battlers are able to take it to the big guns, the big international overseas horses. They come with the big raps. Knight's Choice was one that was flying under the radar, and he delivered on the big day.
Warp Speed was terrific running second. The Japanese back on firmer footing after a failure in soft conditions in the Caulfield Cup.
That's the key, and they brought their own jockey over, and he gave it an absolute peach as well. Through the pack, was very, well, one or two more strides, probably wins the race. The Japanese horses, they are so good on firm ground and really stood up today. Okita Soushi looked the winner, was outstanding, and Zardozi was super brave.
So it is 11, 4, 12 and 14 on the Melbourne Cup. A moment that many of us, particularly Robbie Dolan, will not forget. It was hard to find on form, though, the winner.
Yes, it was, but that's the great game, as we call it. And, yep, it all matters on what happens on the big day. And look at that emotion just spilling over in the mounting yard.
Sensational scenes at Flemington after the win by the outsider. Knight's Choice for Robbie Dolan and for John Symons and Sheila Laxon. That's it for the Melbourne Cup for 2024. We chug